Resource, oil-rich countries that are still poor. Part 1. Africa. Africa is one of the most resource-rich continents in the world. Beneath its soil lies oil, gas, diamonds, gold, and minerals that power the global economy. In theory, this should be a golden ticket to prosperity. But in reality, many African nations with vast natural wealth are trapped in poverty. In this first part of our series, we focus on Africa, exploring the stories of resource-rich countries where abundance has become a paradox. In Part 2, we'll turn our attention to other regions facing the same dilemma. 1. Nigeria. Resources: oil, gas, and minerals. Nigeria is Africa's largest oil producer, with over 1.4 million barrels of crude pumped daily. It also holds enormous natural gas reserves and deposits of tin, limestone, and coal. If oil wealth were the sole key to success, Nigeria could have been another United Arab Emirates, building futuristic cities, world-class infrastructure, and $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund. But instead, over 40% of Nigerians live below the poverty line. The wealth from oil has been undermined by corruption, oil theft, poor infrastructure, and overdependence on crude exports. When oil prices fall, the economy contracts. Efforts to diversify into manufacturing and agriculture have been slow, and inequality continues to grow. Ironically, while Nigeria earns billions from oil, it imports most of its refined fuel due to the lack of functioning refineries. Hoping the new refinery of Dangote and other upcoming refineries will change the landscape. 2. Angola. Resources: oil and diamonds. Angola is the second largest oil producer in Africa and one of the world's top diamond exporters. During the oil boom of the 2000s, billions flowed into the economy. This could have been Angola's chance to follow in Norway's footsteps, investing in education, healthcare, and a future beyond oil. Instead, decades of civil war, corruption, and mismanagement have left much of the population in poverty. The capital city, Luanda, is known for its high-rise buildings and luxury shops, yet many citizens lack access to clean water, stable electricity, or affordable housing. The gap between the elite and the ordinary Angolan is one of the widest in the world. 3. Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Resources: cobalt, copper, diamonds, gold, and coltan. The DRC is arguably the most mineral-rich country on Earth. It holds over 50% of the world's cobalt reserves, essential for electric car batteries, along with copper, diamonds, coltan for smartphones, and vast gold deposits. If managed like Chile's copper industry, the DRC could be a global economic powerhouse. But instead, decades of dictatorship, foreign exploitation, and conflict have turned its mineral wealth into a curse. Armed groups fight over mining regions, child labor is widespread, and most profits leave the country through corrupt deals. Despite its wealth, over 70% of Congolese people live in extreme poverty. 4. Sudan and South Sudan. Resources: oil and gold. Before splitting in 2011, Sudan produced enough oil to be a major player in Africa. But when South Sudan gained independence, it took with it around 75% of the oil fields. Both countries still have significant reserves of oil and gold, yet instability has destroyed any chance of steady growth. South Sudan's oil revenues could have been used like Botswana used diamond income, building schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. Instead, civil war, corruption, and mismanagement have left both nations dependent on aid. Meanwhile, gold mining, often artisanal and informal, brings little benefit to the wider population. 5. Mozambique. Resources: natural gas and coal. Mozambique has some of the largest offshore natural gas reserves in the world, along with significant coal deposits. Experts once predicted it could become one of the fastest-growing economies in Africa, similar to how Qatar used its gas wealth to become one of the richest nations per capita. But progress has been stalled by corruption scandals, delays in LNG projects, and a violent insurgency in the gas-rich Cabo Delgado province. As a result, millions of Mozambicans remain in poverty despite their country's vast energy wealth. 6. Chad. Resources: oil, gold, and uranium. Chad's oil boom in the early 2000s brought hope that the country would finally escape poverty. But much of the oil revenue has been diverted to military spending rather than development. Gold and uranium reserves also remain underdeveloped. Instead of becoming a middle-income nation like Kazakhstan, Chad continues to rank among the world's poorest countries, with life expectancy and literacy rates among the lowest globally. 7. Zambia. Resource: copper. Zambia is one of the world's largest producers of copper, a mineral that powered Chile's transformation into a stable, prosperous economy. But Zambia has struggled with debt, poor management of mining revenues, and over-reliance on copper exports. When copper prices fall, the entire economy suffers, leading to cycles of boom and bust that hinder long-term development. 8. Guinea. Resources: bauxite, iron ore, and gold. Guinea holds the world's largest bauxite reserves, the raw material for aluminum, along with iron ore and gold. These could have made Guinea an industrial hub like Australia, which thrives on iron ore exports. Instead, political instability, weak governance, and poor infrastructure have slowed progress. Large foreign mining companies dominate production, often exporting profits abroad. 9. Zimbabwe. Resources: platinum, diamonds, and gold. Zimbabwe's platinum reserves are among the largest in the world, along with significant diamond and gold deposits. If managed like South Africa's mining sector, these could fuel growth. However, decades of economic mismanagement, corruption, sanctions, and hyperinflation have devastated Zimbabwe's economy, leaving much of the population unemployed and in poverty. Please like, share, and subscribe to help this channel. Thank you. 10. Equatorial Guinea. Resources: oil and gas. Equatorial Guinea's oil reserves have made it one of Africa's wealthiest countries on paper, with a high GDP per capita. But the wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, and rural communities remain without electricity, clean water, or basic healthcare. This is a textbook case of the resource curse, where oil fuels inequality rather than inclusive growth. 11. Sierra Leone. Resources: diamonds and rutile. Sierra Leone's diamonds became infamous as blood diamonds during its brutal civil war. Today, mining continues, but much of the revenue is lost to smuggling and corruption, leaving the country underdeveloped. 12. Liberia. Resources: iron ore and timber. Liberia's iron ore and timber exports could have fueled post-war reconstruction, similar to how Malaysia used timber revenues to fund industrialization. Instead, corruption and mismanagement have slowed progress. 13. Niger. Resource: uranium. Niger's uranium powers nuclear plants in Europe, yet it remains one of the poorest countries in the world. Poor contracts, insecurity, and corruption mean most citizens see little benefit from the industry. 14. Central African Republic. Resources: diamonds and gold. The Central African Republic is rich in diamonds and gold, but chronic instability, coups, and conflict have left it among the least developed countries on Earth. 15. Republic of Congo, Brazzaville. Resources: oil and timber. Congo-Brazzaville's oil and timber exports bring in billions, but decades of corruption and poor governance mean little of that money reaches ordinary citizens. 16. Burkina Faso. Resource: gold. Gold is Burkina Faso's biggest export, yet repeated military coups, terrorism, and poor infrastructure have trapped much of the population in poverty. To wrap it up, Across Africa, natural resource wealth should be a blessing and holds the promise of transformation, as we've seen in countries like Botswana, which used diamond revenue to build schools, hospitals, and stable governance. But without transparency, stability, and sound economic planning, resource riches can become a curse rather than a blessing. In Part 2, we'll explore countries outside Africa facing the same paradox: resource-rich but still poor. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it.